Welcome to the Movers and Shakers podcast, where real students are doing real deals in the world of multifamily real estate. I'm Vince Gethings, the owner of the Wheelwell Profits Academy. Listen in as we dive into the journeys of driven individuals who are turning their dreams into reality. These people are just like you, taking action and making things happen. If you enjoy the show, please like, subscribe, and if you're ready to take action, check us out at wheelwellprofits.com to learn more about our incredible community. Let's get started.
This is Movers and Shakers, where we interview the upcoming generation of make it happen multifamily investors to share their story.
Welcome to the Movers and Shakers podcast. My name is Gino Barbaro, co-founder of Jake and Gino, multifamily investor, educator, father, mentor, and I'm joined by my co-host, my brosif, Joshua Ryan Rusin, the community director of Jake and Gino. Josh, how you doing today, bro?
Gino, doing well, man. Super excited. Literally in 2 days, we have a money mixer here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Gino, tell the folks a little bit about what this type of event is.
The Money Mixer is a closed-door event for Jake and Gino students. It's a networking event. It's basically, we're going to be touring properties. We're having a speaker, Jim Clayton, there, who owned Clayton Homes and sold it to Mr. Warren Buffett. How can I forget Warren Buffett's name, right? But I mean, he's just an amazing speaker. He's an amazing guy. He's got a great story. We're going to be touring our properties. And, you know, multifamily real estate and any kind of real estate, it's relationship-based business. So all the students will get to network with each other. They're going to get to learn their stories. Maybe they can partner together, look at deals together. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great weekend.
That sounds awesome. Some hands-on in the field experience, networking, a keynote speaker, and a student success panel. Count me in. And actually, speaking of the student success panel, we got one of the gentlemen that's going to be on there speaking from stage as today's guest. We got Mr. Abraham Anderson. A little bit about Abraham here. So he's a multifamily investor focused on both apartments and mobile home parks. He's also an insurance agent. And actually in 2014, he was the #1 life agent in the United States for a Fortune 50 company. His first real estate deal was a new construction flip of a fourplex, which he traded up to a 20-unit apartment deal. Shortly after, he refied and enrolled to purchase 3 mobile home parks and currently owns 105 units total, with more properties in the pipeline. In his spare time, he enjoys spending time with his family and building arcade machines. Welcome, Abraham.
Thanks, Josh. Yeah, it's great to be here. You know, two of my favorite people. So this is awesome.
Thank you.
That's a huge compliment there. Abraham, so first off, let's tell the folks, how old are you really quick?
23.
And making it happen. How did you get into real estate first? A new construction is your first project. Let's walk through that whole thing.
Yeah, so I had two people in my growing up that were into real estate. My older brother, he did single family houses. And one comment he made to me, I remember we were playing video games when I was like 14, and he said, "You buy real estate, the renters pay the mortgage." And I thought that was like the coolest thing ever. Like, man, if I can just get enough money to get a down payment to get a house, then I'm going to get a renter in there and they're going to pay that note down for me, and I'll own a house after a while. And then I had a friend growing up, his dad was a contractor, and he was killing it with apartments. He had, a lot of apartments, and I went up to him and said, "How do I do what you're doing?" And he said, "Well, when you save up $50,000, come and see me." So as soon as I turned 18, didn't go to college, and went straight into insurance. And that's what my dad did. So he got me into that with insurance. After about a year, I'd actually had saved up $50,000. So I went to him, and then he was a contractor, and I built this fourplex in Cleveland, Tennessee. So I then moved away there up near Knoxville. And so I decided to sell those. And once that was sold, I had then purchased the 20-unit apartments, my first multifamily deal, or I guess commercial deal.
So how did you get into the 20-unit complex? I mean, how did you find it? How did you finance it? What would the numbers look like?
Sure. So it was tough, because hardly anyone took me seriously. I think I was 20 at the time. And, every broker I would see, even residential brokers, I'd go by offices and I would talk to them and say, "Hey, listen, this is what I'm looking for. I've got this much money to do this." As far as financing over that period, once I sold the fourplex, I had some money from that. I also had purchased an office building with cash that also I had saved up over the 3 or 4 years selling insurance from that point, or I guess it would be 2 to 3 years. And so let me get back to how I found it. I was at my doctor's office and I left, and there was a real estate brokerage right next door. I went inside there and talked to the lady, and she took me seriously, which was nice, and I told her what I'm looking for, and she was sending me deals, and it took about 9 months to find my first deal. I'll say one thing I thought was kind of funny. I talked to this one broker, and I'd made an appointment to see this complex over the phone. And I met him out there. I could see his face just kind of drop, like, who is this, And afterwards, we had went out to lunch, and he said, "I'll be honest, Abraham, when I first met you, I thought, is this a joke?" He said, "But actually, I'm really impressed. When I was your age, I was just thinking about the next time I could get drunk." So, so that was kind of funny. But yeah, this real estate, she was great. She hustled and she found this deal. And then how I financed it was it was 1.3 million, it's 20 units, 65 a door. I put down 10% in cash, and then the bank had took my office as collateral for the other 10%. So that's how I financed it.
That is awesome. So when did we meet? I know we met early on in the process. You had called me up and you joined the Jake and Gino right around that time, correct?
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly right. I had called, we first talked in October of 2016. I remember I had heard y'all on the Bigger Pockets podcast, and I was so pumped up, and I heard y'all were in Knoxville. I said, man, these guys are crushing it. If they can do it, I can do it, And so I reached out to you, and you're just real awesome, and that's how I got connected with y'all. And, read y'all's book, and that just really got me pumped up to go out and take down some multifamily properties.
So what was the biggest help in the community with Jake and Gino? I mean, the education, the networking, the vendors, what were the big aha moments for you?
Yeah, definitely being able to talk to you, and then seeing other people in the group, and it's so funny because with insurance, just to kind of draw a contrast, I mean, it seems like a lot of agents are at each other's throats all the time. We're all in competition and everything, and it can be kind of crazy. But with real estate, I mean, it's almost like a brotherhood. Everyone really is genuinely cares about each other, and it's not a zero-sum game where, hey, if I win, you lose. And so everyone's willing to help each other out and talk to each other and share advice and vendors. And so that was really a big help, getting plugged into the community and the support from y'all. And I always say there's no point in reinventing the wheel. You just need to find somebody that's successful, whatever you want to do, whether it's real estate or anything else, and then copy what they're doing. And that's how you get to success. It's the quickest way to success, to avoid failing 50 times. Just learn from other people's mistakes, and then do copy what works.
So let's talk about that zero-sum game in insurance. How do you get over that? Because I don't believe that we all have to operate from that. I think that if you're a good insurance salesperson, you love your product, you're going to serve your client. And it's not only, the problem is most insurance agents turn it into a commodity. That's where the issue is. And you're just going on price. How do you overcome that, not being that commodity or not being that zero-sum game?
Sure. Just like with real estate, I think it's a lot about relationships. I generally want to help people. A lot of my clients are seniors. They're on Medicare. They're 65 and up. And I love being able to see them and, save them money on what they're already paying. They've got, or what they already have. So they have the same plan, but save them $50, $100 a month. When you're on a fixed income and you're only getting $1,100 a month, if you can save $80 a month, that's huge to them. So, it's great when you can help somebody out, get them something that they want and need, and then also be able to make money while doing that. I mean, it's just such an awesome feeling. And I was just actually with a client yesterday, and it was a tough day, but then, I had that appointment. I said, man, this is my favorite part of it, is just, talking to people, and helping people out. So, I think it's important to focus on other people, and it's not about the money. I mean, if you help enough people, there's a quote from Jim Rohn that says, you can have everything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want, and I try to keep that in mind and focus on that.
I love that. How did you overcome that credibility? I mean, you're 20 years old. A lot of the students that we're attracting are in their 20s, and they seem as if the way they overcome the credibility is by creating a credibility book, but also by educating themselves and being able to speak intelligently to a broker and knowing exactly what your criteria is, knowing your market, knowing what your price points are, knowing what your expenses are. That'll shatter any kind of credibility, and giving them a book or giving them an outline or an acquisition sheet also helps. So how did you overcome that problem?
Yeah, I did that. I did create a credibility book, and at the time, there's not a whole lot of real estate I could point to other than the fourplex, which I was pretty much hands off with that, So create the credibility book, and any other past experiences. Well, hey, look, I'm successful in this field, and definitely, like you said, learning the lingo as well. I mean, you got to know your criteria and what it is you're looking for. That's the big thing, if you don't know what a cap rate is or things like that, it's hard for them to take you seriously. So, if they, see you're serious, then, hey, I've looked at this many deals, and this is what I'm looking for. I've got this, this is my plan. That really blows them away. When you give a broker, credibility broker, hey, this is my criteria. I want, B-class apartments, at a 7 or 8 cap in this area and with a value add. That really shows them that you're serious and you know what you're doing. And I think that was one of the ways I overcame the hurdle. And the other thing is just reaching out to every broker, pursuing every avenue, as far as finding deals, off-market deals, wholesale deals, any way you can get into it, because the hardest one is really the first deal. Once you get over that, it's infinitely easier getting to the second and third one. My first deal was the 20 unit was in 2017. And it's been 2 years. And then finally, within the last 2 months, I've closed on 3 other properties, So, I mean, it's just like one, and then it's almost like a line, and it just goes straight up, like a plane. So you just got to stay persistent, and keep focused on it.
I love that. So how did you add value and refi the property, the 20 unit? It took you about 18 months to do that?
I'd actually refied about 13 months. So just a little over a year after I purchased it.
All right.
The biggest thing was I purchased it from the original builder. He had a partner, and his partner actually passed away in a plane crash, tragically. And so he was kind of burnt out on it. He was older. And so I bought it from him, and they were built in between 99 and 2005. And most of the rents hadn't been raised since then. So they were, 150 plus under market. So what I would do is units would come due, if someone moved out, I'd put in vinyl flooring, really nice vinyl flooring, paint it, just like the two-tone paint scheme, or, nice colors, like gray or neutral colors, and try to do some capital improvements like that. But a lot of people, I'd renew them at, from 700 to 850, and almost no one moved out. I mean, they knew they were getting a smoking deal at the time, where the rents up the road are 950, and they're 850, but there's still a lot less, and it's newer apartments. And so a lot of it really was just raising rents, and doing some neglect, mom and pop neglect that they hadn't addressed over the years. And then landscaping as well. So yeah, that was a few of the ways that I had added value.
And how much were you able to refinance out of the property?
Sure. So as far as with cash, I'd put in 130, and then I said I took my office as collateral, and I got out 163. So I got more than all I put in back out of it. so that was pretty awesome.
Classic refi and roll. And I think what you've used, what I'm hearing you say, is you used the classic Jake and Gino, basically 3-step repositioning. You're filling vacant units. You're going in, possibly doing rubs if you can do that. You're spending, it sounds like, around $3,000 per unit for CapEx, maybe $1,000 for flooring, a few $100 for the paint, two-tone paint scheme, maybe cabinet resurfacing, a couple $100 for resurfacing countertops, maybe painting some cabinets. And it's amazing how, those deals are out there. It's just, you have to go and look for those deals. And when you find a deal like that, it's almost too good to be true. It's like, wow, I can't believe this thing is out there. So you refi that money, you have the money on the side. How did you find your next deal?
So my next strategy was I was really got pumped on mobile home parks. The first live event that y'all had done, you had a syndicator that did mobile home parks. And that kind of put the idea in my mind, but in my mind, I don't want to buy a trailer park, but then as I really started getting into it, hearing other people doing it, I realized the business model, it's very similar to apartments. They're both multifamily, they're both commercial, but the biggest, to me, the biggest positive with mobile home parks was, there's no capital, or there's no repair and maintenance of the homes. They own their own home. And then there is so little turnover. With apartments, it might be every 2 years it turns. With mobile home parks, it's like every 13 years. If they own their home, they stay in there 13 years. So what I had done is I'd made a list, how I found the next deals, of all of the parks in the metro, the Knoxville metro. And I went and door knocked all of the owners. I found it, and it's kind of funny because that's usually the same demographic I was used to with insurance. It's the original builders between 65 and 80. Went to them. I got one deal that way. And then the two of them was someone I've met in y'all's community. They had put me in touch with a guy, and I bought 2 parks from him. So that's how I got those other, those next 3 deals I just closed on here recently.
So, wow. So it sounds like, Josh, it's a lot of work. It's not going to come to you, right? Especially in this market. But I mean, basically with these deals, it sounds like you can be financially free. You're just continuing to add multiple streams of revenue. Are you managing these properties yourself now?
Yeah, at the moment I am. And that's one other great piece of advice I got from you was I had had a property manager right when I purchased the 20 unit, fired them because it wasn't working out, hired somebody else, ended up firing them earlier this year because they didn't work out either, you know. So I am currently self-managing, me and my wife, actually, Anna. She's doing a lot too. She's great. I just got married back in September, so that's another big thing going on, I guess.
Wow.
And so she's excellent. But we've been doing that. My next step really is to hire an assistant, mainly to answer the phone and you know, possibly show units when they come vacant. So I'm really looking to try to scale that up and get out of the day-to-day management so I can focus on finding other deals, you know, and growing, and, you know, and also insurance. So
There's an inflection point for that. That's a little scary because everyone says, you know, you need to hire, you need to, there's an inflection point where you're going to look back when you hire that person, you're going to say, wow, I should have done it sooner. But the only advice I can give you is whenever you think you're ready, whenever you think you can pay, that's when you do it, because it's the same with us as we're scaling our businesses. You're hiring more and more people on, and it can be daunting. You can say to yourself, well, I don't have that control anymore. I'd like to have that control, but you're young. And as you start scaling up, you're going to hire. I mean, I think hiring is the most important thing. I think Abraham is just trying to create a culture within your brand and within your company to say what you want and just hire off of that culture, whether it's hardworking, whether it's make it happen. We have unwavering ethics. We have, you know, people first, whatever that is. I think you can create the culture and then from there hire and fire from that culture.
yeah,
You know?
I agree. I appreciate the advice. You know, I think that's important, you know, and one thing I realize is if something's not working out, it just does you both a disservice to keep somebody on, you know, like the property managers, you know, right away, you usually can tell if it's not going to work out. Don't prolong the suffering, just get rid of them, you know, and get somebody else, because, you know, they can go on to better things and so can you. So, yeah.
That's a difficult thing for every entrepreneur to do. Sometimes you want to hold on and you want to trick yourself into saying it'll be okay. Take the short-term pain instead of the long-term pain. We've all done it before, and that's one of the things, the reason why I'm not at the restaurant, because I took that short-term pain, I didn't get rid of it, and I made a long-term pain. So, Josh, let's take a quick break to hear from our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Gino, I know a lot of our listeners are wanting to take their multifamily investing business to the next level. I know that you've been hard at work helping Jake and Gino students do just that using our framework. Can you explain to the listeners how they can get our help?
Guys, we've been hard at work growing our community of like-minded investors, and the results of our members has been nothing short of incredible. We're looking to grow this amazing group. What we're looking for is those who want to follow our proprietary framework that we've created: buy right, manage right, and finance right. Leverage our connections, education, and mentorship as ways to take your business to the next level.
So if you're interested in finding out more about how you can become a part of our amazing community, apply to work with us at jakeandgino.com/apply.
All right, Abraham, you've dropped some nuggets thus far, and really, I think the path you've taken is very inspiring at such a young age to make it happen and where you're at currently. A few things, like questions for you. What's your favorite book you've read and why?
So my favorite book would be Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. And that was co-authored by Napoleon Hill, who wrote Think and Grow Rich, and also a guy named W. Clement Stone, who founded an insurance company, actually, sell insurance with. He lived to be 100, and he was just a funny guy. But they co-wrote this book together, and the main takeaways from the book is stay positive, you know, and focused, and, you know, you attract or repel based on your mindset and your attitude. You know, if you stay positive and you're happy and you want to help people out, you'll attract people like that. If you're always negative, you have a bad attitude, then you will repel people, or you'll, you know, be around other people like that. So that's definitely my favorite book.
Man attracts not what he wants, but what he is. So if you are negative, but you want to be this positive person, but you're skewing negative thoughts or negative ideas, you're going to be attracting that. So be careful the person you are. And it's the same thing when you're hiring people. If you're not a really good employer, you're going to hire employees that aren't that good. So step up your game. Be aware of that. You know, be the person you want to be, and then that's what you're going to be able to attract. And wish I had known that years ago also. Nobody told me that. I figured it out. So I'm like, well, okay, I'm attracting these great people now. I must have grown as a person. So I'm sure you're not going to have any problems attracting people, Abraham.
Love that. Abraham, what about your best advice for anyone trying to buy their first multifamily property?
Definitely number one is persistency, because you will hit a brick wall over and over, whether it's credibility or just not finding a good deal, which is the hardest part right now, I believe, at least, you know, for me. You have to stay persistent, you know, and real estate's a long game. You know, sometimes you get in touch with a person that owns a property, you got to follow up with them, you know, for for months or, even years, before they're finally ready to sell. And the same thing, staying in touch with the brokers. Hey, call them up, whether it's every week or every couple of weeks or however often. Hey, have you found anything, and then you just have to stay persistent. That's really the hardest part, because you can get all pumped up, hey, let's go, let's do something. But you have to keep it going long enough, because it's just like all of a sudden you're working, you won't see any progress, and all of a sudden, bam, like I said, I mean, it seems like I went from 20 to 105 almost overnight, but there's 2 years in between that of, working hard and trying to make things happen for that to finally materialize.
And I love that. It's not that long of a game. If you think about it, in 3 to 5 years, you've accumulated 100 units at such a young age. So 3 years goes by in a heartbeat. It goes by real quick, but it's those daily grinds and those daily habits that lead to the incremental, growth, and it becomes exponential. If you do those daily tasks, they become quarterly goals, and all of a sudden they become yearly, and then you do one deal. And even if it takes you 2 years to do a deal, as you've seen, it becomes a momentum. And all of a sudden by year 3, you can have 100 units because you put all the time and the hard work into it.
Yeah. I want to make one comment on that, Gino. You mentioned it does go by so quick. There's 2 quotes I love. I can't remember who said them, but first one is 10 years will go by whether you own real estate or not. And then the other one is you'll never buy anything else that someone else will pay for, So, I mean, I want to, get in the game, and you have 10 years or a lifetime of, the loan getting paid down, of the monthly cash flow, the tax benefits of the property appreciating on its own. I mean, there's so many benefits to owning real estate. You just got to get into it. You'll never know everything. You just have to jump in and learn as you go.
As Jake likes to say from Game of Thrones, Daenerys says, you don't know how to ride a dragon until you ride a dragon. It's the same thing.
There you go.
You don't know how to buy multifamily until you buy multifamily. So whether you buy a 2-plex or 100 units, you won't know until you get educated, until you find the people that can help you out, until you can network, and then you just got to go and buy one. And then you follow your course, and you repeat, and you whatever mistakes you make, you course correct.
Mm-hmm. You're not going to learn to ride a bicycle by reading a book. So you just got to do it.
I agree.
Love that. One thing I heard is don't wait to buy real estate and wait, right? So that's kind of
there you go. Yeah.
Started here. What about best habit for success?
I would say, and this is something, it's all of it. I wish I could say, oh, it's so easy, I just do it all the time, but I'd say staying focused on what it is you're trying to achieve. You're not going to hit a target if you don't know what it is. And I do that I try to write down my goals when I wake up in the morning. And then at night, when I'm trying to plan out my next day, I write down my goals again. So your mind is constantly working, your subconscious, even while you're sleeping. How am I going to get this done? Okay. And then you wake up and bam, I'm ready to go. I got this and this to do. And this is going to get me towards closing the next deal or the next sale or whatever it is. So I would say staying focused on your target, and then writing goals.
Love that. How can the listeners get a hold of you?
Sure. So you can reach out to me through Facebook, send me a message or add me on there. You can also email me, Abraham, ABRAHAM, janderson@gmail.com. Feel free to send me an email. I'd love to talk with you.
Very cool. So we got some really exciting recap on this one to go over. 1, success takes massive action. And also the success curve looks like a hockey stick. Starts out relatively flat and then explodes with exponential growth. Gino, what takeaways do you have from today's show?
How much time we got? There's a lot. The first thing that I think that everyone needs to do, whether they want to join the Jake and Gino community or another community, they really need to spend money and invest on their education. You're not paying for an education. I think you have to have the mind shift of you're investing in your education. And I think Abraham would have probably got his first deal with or without the Jake and Gino community. That's clear for me. I just think we did it a lot quicker for him. I think he saved a lot more money from a lot of mistakes. From doing it with the community. I think he learned a lot. I think he had a paradigm shift of, maybe not multifamily. What about mobile home parks? He might not have had that epiphany if he wasn't part of a community that is actually open and saying, it's sort of the same game. A lot of other things you need to continue to read. You need to continue to create habits. Focus. It's funny, Abraham, most people don't have focus because they don't know what they want. The first thing on focusing on something is learning what you want. Don't tell me what you don't want. Focus on what you do want. And it seems like Abraham wants to focus on creating a great business and creating financial freedom and creating wealth through multifamily. Another thing that I took away is buy real estate. don't wait. I mean, it's just never the right time to buy, right? We're at a high point right now. We're at a low point. You just have to buy, and you have to create your criteria. The next thing is, Josh, I can keep going, but really think about it. I mean, a 20-year-old, I mean, everyone complains that they're too young, they're too old, they don't have enough money. All dispelling beliefs, because he knows what his target was. He knows what his focus, what he wanted, and he went after it. And I think, Josh, the last thing is, we never paint this as a get-rich-quick scheme. There's going to be a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of door knocking, a lot of putting charts, and a lot of finding out who owns these properties and talking to brokers. But if you're willing to do that, then the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to put a lot of work into it. But then after that, you're going to be able to do whatever you want. Is that enough, Josh, or can I keep going?
Boom. That was huge. I definitely want to rewind that and go over those again, because there were some real nuggets in there. And guys, I want to thank Abraham for being an amazing guest on the show and sharing his Mover and Shakers story. Now, if you want to be the next Movers and Shakers guest, email me, josh@jakeandgino.com. If you like the show, leave us a review. And until next time, let's make it a Movers and Shakers week. See you guys.
Thanks, Abraham.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great day, everybody.